Before a lab ever dreamed up the Indominus Rex or its leaner cousin, the Indoraptor, the man-made hybrid from Jurassic World designed to be half Indominus, half Velociraptor, the planet had already prototyped something scarier. Not bigger teeth just for show, not a CGI snarl, real bone, real muscle, real claws. So long and so sharp that paleontologists misread them completely. For a while, they thought they were looking at a massive sickle toe from a giant raptor. Turns out it wasn't a toe at all. It was a hand. Imagine a predator with 12-inch knives on its fingers, backed by arms built to swing them like weapons. Hollywood asked, "What if you crossed a tyrant with a raptor?" Nature shrugged and said, "Been there." The answer had a name that still echoes like a warning: Megaraptorans. The Indoraptor is designed to terrify: long arms, eerie reach, flexible body. It's a monster made for horror cinema. But the only reason it works on screen is because it's grounded in something that once walked the earth. Megaraptorans weren't just big predators. They were strange. Their bodies were light, their arms were heavy, their fossils incomplete. Every time bones surface, they add a clue, but never the full picture. And that aura of mystery only fuels the terror. Because the animals that inspired the Indoraptor were real, and they left claw marks deep in the fossil record. The tale starts in Patagonia, where a gigantic recurved claw was pulled from the ground. At first glance, it looked like a supersized version of the famous raptor toe claw, a sickle weapon. Paleontologists imagined a giant dromaeosaur stalking South America, but the puzzle didn't quite fit. Years later, the reinterpretation dropped like a twist ending. This was no foot claw. It was from the hand, first finger, and it was massive, 30 centimeters of natural steel, likely longer in life once you add the keratin sheath. Then came the kicker. They didn't stop at one. The second finger carried another oversized blade, two primary weapons side by side, supported by a third digit that was still razor sharp. Where a raptor brought one scythe, a Megaraptoran brought a fistful. But the claw was just the beginning. A claw is useless without the arm behind it. Here, Megaraptorans excelled. Their forelimbs were built like the opposite of a T-Rex, long, robust, flexible, and anchored by huge muscle scars. These weren't vestiges, they were engines. With their range of motion, they could swing claws as slashing sabers, thrust them like spears, or hook and drag prey into their jaws. Imagine a predator that doesn't just strike. It adjusts, switches grip, and dismantles you with precision. And when the prey was already down, those arms doubled as tools, raking carcasses, prying open rib cages, and reaching meat jaws alone couldn't manage. Tyrannosaurs had bite force. Megaraptorans had versatility. Their mouths tell another story. Instead of uniform teeth, Megaraptorans display an odd variety across species. Some bore chisel-like incisors similar to early tyrannosauroids. Others had blade-like cutters closer to shark teeth. Still others mixed smooth leading edges with serrated backs, perfect for sliding in clean and sawing back out. They weren't built to crush like a rex, but they didn't need to. Their claws opened the prey. Their teeth processed it. It's a tag team design. Where most theropods specialized, Megaraptorans experimented. The Indoraptor's teeth may look menacing in a movie, but nature's originals carried mouths tuned for efficiency, not theatrics. Line them up and the silhouette alone is unnerving. Not lumbering giants, not compact sprinters. They were elongated hunters, slender frames with disproportionate forelimbs tipped in blades. Species spanned continents. Megaraptor, Murusraptor, Orcaraptor in Argentina, Australovenator in Australia, Fukuraptor in Japan, Erostion reaching near Indoraptor dimensions, and the Titan Mape, which pushed the family toward the top of the food chain. Many stretched past 8 meters. Mape may have reached 10. That's over 30 feet of muscle and claw. But their true terror came not from size alone. It was the way they looked. long-armed, lean, fast. Predators shaped less like tanks and more like nightmares caught mid-stride. And the secret to that stride was inside their bones. Megaraptorans were lightweight for their length. Their skeletons were riddled with air pockets, a feature called pneumaticity. Hollow bones made them surprisingly light, sometimes half the weight of an equally long allosaurid. Some mid-sized species tipped the scales at barely 300 kilos despite being 6 meters long. Think of them as the cheetahs of their age. Elongated legs, light builds, muscles tuned for bursts of speed. With that kind of anatomy, even larger individuals could sprint faster than expected, chase smaller prey, or set up lethal ambushes. Predators weren't supposed to be this fast and this well-armed at the same time. Megaraptorans broke that rule. How did they use all this hardware? Depends on the target. For giants, hadrosaurs, armored herbivores, maybe even juvenile titanosaurs, the play was brutal, coordinated slashes to cripple, bleed, and topple. Once the prey was down, the claws carved it into manageable strips. For smaller victims, the nightmare took another shape. Evidence from shoulders and claws suggests they could grapple, impale, and lift prey toward the mouth. Imagine being skewered like a kebab, then dragged upward while still alive. The hands did the capturing, the teeth sealed the deal, and when all else failed, they scavenged with efficiency, raking through carcasses with the same tools they used to kill. Where did these predators thrive? Near water. Fossils often appear in fluvial and coastal deposits, rivers, floodplains, and shorelines where prey density was high. That's where you'd meet them, and likely where you'd regret it. But megaraptorans weren't alone. In South America, they overlapped with carcharodontosaurids, theropods that leaned into bulk and power. The two lineages likely competed, each testing the other's limits. For a time, the balance held. Then, around 90 million years ago, carcharodontosaurids vanished. In their absence, megaraptorans sized up. By the end of the Cretaceous, their lineage produced Mape, the biggest of them all, a shadow stalking Argentina's forests, its name tied to mythology as the shadow of death. If the Indoraptor feels cursed by design, Mape wore the curse in its name. Here's the twist. We still don't know what megaraptorans actually were. At first, scientists slotted them as giant dromaeosaurs, raptor cousins. Wrong. They lacked the hallmark sickle toe. Next, maybe they were close to allosaurs, given their hollow bones. That fit for a while, but new finds broke the pattern. Today, debates swirl. Were they early tyrannosauroids, or a unique branch of neovenatorids? No consensus. They sit in taxonomic limbo, too strange to fit neatly, too distinctive to dismiss. That mystery only sharpens their menace. We can describe their claws, their speed, their likely hunts. But what they really were, still open to argument. For all their weirdness, megaraptorans lasted. Tyrannosaurs ruled for 16 million years. Spinosaurids endured 46. Carcharodontosaurs survived 64. Megaraptorans? They stretched across 80+ million years, from the late Jurassic through the end of the Cretaceous. And unlike some lineages that shrank over time, they scaled upward. The last survivors were the largest and most fearsome. Their reign ended not from weakness, but from a cosmic accident. 66 million years ago, a meteor slammed into Earth. Fires, famine, collapse. That's what it took to erase them. Not competition, not failure, an apocalypse. And no predator since has grown claws to match theirs. The Indoraptor may be fiction, but the script was already written by evolution. Real claws longer than knives. Real arms strong enough to swing them. Real predators that were fast, flexible, and disturbingly efficient. The fossils whisper about a nightmare that outlived rivals, spread across continents, and only stopped when the sky fell. Hollywood tried to create a monster. Nature built one first. And if megaraptorans could rise from scraps of bone into legends, it begs the question, What other predators still lie buried, waiting to remind us that imagination rarely outpaces reality?